We're here. We're finally here. Hi everyone, Anthony Fantano here, the internet's busiest music nerd, and it's time for the last edition of 2023 List Week, my favorite albums of the year. A top 50 of them, in fact. There were many albums this year that I liked and loved, but I still sadly had to whittle that list down to 50, as I have done for well over a decade at this point. Wow, 10 plus years of listing 50 albums I loved in a year's time. What a weird world we live in. But we're still going to go through this list as if it's completely and utterly normal. Starting with number 50, that would be Navy Blues Ways of Knowing, a very passionate, low-key, and heady hip-hop album that dropped this year, with one of the cutest covers of any album in 2023. It's adorable! At number 49, that would be Jessie Ware with her very punchy, bright, and poppy disco sequel, That Feels Good. At number 48, George Clanton is giving us big beats, big choruses, and big nostalgia on Ooh Rapaya. At 47, it is a fat dose of non-stop southern hip-hop on Key Glock's Glaucoma 2. And at 46, Brazil Zone and a Frango Elétrico with Chama de Gato, a short but creative record that brings together elements of bossa nova and disco and funk and jazz and pop with a few quality covers in the mix too. At number 45, it is Mike with Burning Desire. This young abstract hip-hop upstart comes through with his biggest and brightest album to date. At 44, the legendary death metal band Autopsy with Ashes, Organs, Blood, and Crypts. The band is sounding just as riffy and vicious and disgusting and blood-caked as ever. 43 is going to be Mexico's Mon Laferte with Autopoietica, a very versatile, experimental, and forward-thinking project of various shades of Latin music and art pop. At 42, it is Tomb Mold with a very atmospheric, dark, moody, and sometimes melodic death metal offering on the Enduring Spirit. And at 41, we have Joanna Sternberg with I've Got Me, a heartening singer-songwriter album with some serious folk roots, frank lyricism, as well as some simple and effective song builds. At number 40, it is Canadian saxophonist and continuous breathingist Colin Stetson with the record When We Were That What Wept for the Sea. Certainly one of his most conceptual, grand, and satisfying records to date. At 39, it is Tinashe with the short but narrative and catchy series of low-key, beautiful R&B and pop cuts that we get through BB Angel, or Baby Angel. At 38, it is Wiki and Tony Seltzer, 14K Figaro, bringing some serious New York hip-hop flavor. 37, it is Endless Lo-Fi Digital Grooves on the Snow Strippers April Mixtape 3. And at 36, Mitski kills it with a great singer-songwriter LP that has a slight country twist on The Land Is Inhospitable and So Are We. At 35, we are getting Holy, and we are also healing on the new Reverend Kristen Michael Hayter album Saved. And at 34, Pink Panther S proves there is still a lot of gas in the tank when it comes to vintage UK dance pop on Heaven Knows. At 33, it is one of country's biggest and most breakout stars over the last few years, Zach Bryan with his self-titled LP. At 32, post-rock and shoegaze and bedroom pop marry beautifully on the Parannoul album After the Magic. And at 31, multiple shades of loud and underground rock and punk and hardcore marry on the versatile and lengthy and also heavily feature-laced album from the Hers Collective, We're Still Here. At 30, we have a lot of heady, linear, and spell-binding rock songs on the Squid album O Monolith. And at 29, we are getting quirky and weird and a little playful and odd and experimental and somewhat tongue-in-cheek as well on this lo-fi and special little album from Feeble Little Horse, A Girl with Fish. 28, Paramore comes through with a successful jaunt into the indie and post-punk arena with This Is Why. And 27, it is Olivia Rodrigo with Guts, a great, dramatic, exciting, passionate singer-songwriter album that brings elements of pop punk and a lot more. Pretty much improves on all fronts when it comes to what she did on her last LP, Sour. Then at 26, it is the dark, groovy, and mesmerizing project from model actress Dog's Body. Okay, top 25, we're at the halfway point of the list, let's go! 25 is going to be Beloved Paradise Jazz from rapper and songwriter McKinley Dixon. This album may be short, but it is dense with lyricism and meaning, and also has some of the most beautiful, layered, decked out, and grand jazzy instrumentals I've heard all year. Then at 24, it is going to be multimedia artist, singer, and songwriter poet Lonnie Holley with Oh Me, Oh My, an absolutely otherworldly album that really feels like it's coming from another dimension and explores feelings of trauma, fear, pain, and has features on it such as Justin Vernon as well as Sharon Van Etten. It's really a great album, a special record. At 23, it is zaniness, it is punchiness, it is quirk, it is unhinged insanity, it is high energy, it is egg punk from Snooper on Super Snooper. At 22, King Gizzard comes through with a metal sequel to their Infest the Rat's Nest project. That would be Petrodragonic Apocalypse. The band is touching down once more with a metal LP, and it is a narrative one, a high concept one that obviously deals in the death and destruction of the environment through this story that is kind of around some symbolic and metaphorical stuff, which is a monster, a dragon, lots of fire and everything burning in a totally dystopian fashion. And also amazing at 21 is the King Cruel album, Space Heavy. Archie Marshall comes through with one of his most emotionally potent and moody releases yet, with low-key and emotional cuts that really put me into a stupor. Okay, moving on to number 20 in the list. If I'm allowed to live here, if I'm allowed to live, it's Sexy Red, the Hood Hottest Princess, the deluxe, with the pink cover, the deluxe. Just let me be. At number 19, that is going to be 100 gecs with 1000 gecs, an album that I rated, I gave it a positive review, but maybe rated it a little low, given how short it is and everything earlier in the year, but a lot of the songs from this record have been sticking with me, and on top of it, I feel like few records kind of defined the vibe of this year in the way that 100 gecs did, at least for me. And of course, once again, yes, gecs is bringing that absurd, tongue-in-cheek, wild blend of pop and hyper pop and rock and punk and a host of other things. At number 18, we have what I think is pretty much, really like the art pop album of the year, if, we're judging it by the metrics of being futuristic and, super synthy and heady and out there, but also sweet, catchy, incredibly infectious. That would be Caroline Polachek with Desire, I Want to Turn Into You. Then at 17, we have Kara Jackson, singer-songwriter, with the album Why Does the Earth Give Us People to Love? And at number 16, we have one of the most young and exciting new groups to come up out of nowhere. That would be Group Therapy. I was mature for my age, but I was still a child. I really love how this trio is coming through and bringing so many different sounds and genres together in a way that is seamless and exciting and new and thrilling. They write bangers, they write heady tracks, they sing, they rap. They're rocking over pop stuff, over rock stuff, over rap stuff, over R&B stuff. And they're doing it all so well without an Achilles heel in sight. I feel like my viewers who are really like on kind of those forward-thinking rap waves, who are, really down with your Injury Reserves or, Brockhampton when they first came out of the gate, you do need to be paying attention to Group Therapy. At number 15, we have Amaarae with Fountain Baby. She is bringing together elements of Afro beats and dream pop and beyond on this record in a way that frankly just sounds completely and utterly unique to her and has me feeling like she's one of the best and most creative new names out there today. Also one of the best and most interesting and newest in the world of rock, though, this time. That would be Geese at 14 on 3D Country. From hard rock to blues to soul, the roots of rock and roll live and breathe in this band's new album over here in a very vibrant fashion, but they put a new, fresh, sort of unhinged and slightly chaotic twist on the whole thing too. It all culminates into this beast of an album that, as I've returned to it again and again, has been one of my favorite rock experiences of the year. At number 13, we are talking Underscore's Wall Socket, another album that fuses together so many different styles of internet-based weirdo pop and rock. Stellar homespun production on this one, as well as some great songs that touch down on a range of topics, from financial crimes to being out of touch due to your wealth, as well as having been taken advantage of by some kind of creepy guy through the internet. Easy, this is one of the most exciting and creative records I've heard this year, and I hope you guys try it too. Which is also the case for our number 12 spot here. That would be Genesis Owusu with Struggler. Genesis Owusu, still one of my favorite artists out of Australia at the moment, and this new conceptual album of his really kind of sealed the deal, with a lot of stark and punchy, almost goth and post-punk adjacent tunes that explore his personal struggle against God, feeling like God and the world essentially has it out for him, and how does he survive with the odds stacked against him. It's great. Give it a listen. 11. Armand Hammer, Billy Woods, and Elucid back together again with We Buy Diabetic test strips. One of the best and most creatively produced abstract hip-hop albums you will hear this year. Billy Woods and Elucid, after putting out music together for over 10 years now, their chemistry is still just bar none. And it is with that we enter the top 10. Okay, number 10. That is going to be the Lemon Twigs with Everything Harmony. You know, I'm not the biggest soft rock guy in the world. I like a song, I like a big sentimental ballad here and there, some Air Supply, stuff like that. But this Lemon Twigs album came through with that exact sound, and with some stellar songwriting and very quality, vintage, colorful production, just hit me right in the feels and had me during almost every moment, from the touching opener to the absurd "every day is the worst day of my life," to immense and powerful ballads like "Any Time of Day." So many moments from this album melodically are just seared into my brain, and they're likely not to vacate soon. This is really a moment where I'm just kind of surrendering myself over to this album, because I understand in terms of, like, you know, what else is popular this year and the sort of music the duo is bringing on this record. It's not a pick or a top 10 choice that's probably going to get me like a lot of kudos for people saying like, "Oh yeah, I loved that one too." I mean, for sure the duo has their fans, but it's not exactly a trendy album to be standing. And yet that is what I do. I am here and I stand big. Stand big for this. Number 9 is going to be ANOHNI and the Johnsons with My Back Was a Bridge for You to Cross. ANOHNI Hagarty has come through with her band, the Johnsons, once again to put together a stunning fusion of rock and soul songs, many of which deal in the pain and suffering and oppression of the LGBTQ community. This album is a powerful and beautiful call to action. It is a protest with some of the most inspiring and hard-hitting performances of ANOHNI's very lengthy career at this point in music. At number 8, we are seeing a grand culmination of so many sounds and experiences and artistic pioneering done by none other than Ravenna Hunt Hendricks, who is the mastermind of the experimental metal project Liturgy on 93696. If you've been aware of Hendrix's work as well as Liturgy's, you know that this project is pretty significant when it comes to really pushing the boundaries of avant-garde and black metal. And And for album after album after album over the past 10 years, we have heard one innovation after the next, all progressively being fine-tuned with each release. And now finally on this new album over here that is 90 minutes long, we finally get all of those ideas, both musical and theological, coming together in this massive and epic and crushing display of music. Maybe this one is not going to be for everybody, because I think you really had to have been kind of paying attention to all the moves up until this point to appreciate where a lot of it is coming from. But at the end of the day, this is my list, and this is about what I loved and what I preferred and what blew me away, and this record certainly did that, which is why it's in my top 10. What also blew me away is this latest but also final album from the band Sprain, The Lamb is Effigy, which, if you love your art rock, your experimental rock, your art punk to be noisy and tortured and harrowing and absurd and surreal, then yeah, this is the record for you. And it's absolutely amazing and awe-inspiring. My one fear is that now that the band is defunct, as they broke up shortly after the release of this LP, that this album is now going to kind of like fall to the wayside, and not many people are going to find out about it past this year. I hope that doesn't end up happening, and that this project's effect and potential impact just kind of snowballs from here, because I do really see Sprain as a part of this long-standing tradition of linear and experimental rock a la Swans. And for the time that they were around and dropping this album, they were doing a stellar job of kind of carrying that torch, taking next steps. Maybe it wasn't really meant to go much further than here, I suppose, but the point they were able to bring it to on this record is certainly an impressive one. And I hope you guys take the time to listen to this massive, massive record when you get the chance to. Then at 6, that is going to be Sampha with the highly conceptual, beautiful, and moving Lahai. Sampha had us waiting with this one, and it was very, 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 very much worth the wait, considering the amazing, beautiful, and improved vocal performances, the storytelling across the album, the personal angles to a lot of the narratives as well, the way he was able to work flight and freedom and pursuing your own path into the whole LP alongside parallels to the story of Jonathan Livingston Seagull, not to mention all the busy, detailed, and just gorgeous production. The pianos and keys, the synths, the bass, and the way that juxtaposes so interestingly against all of these super detailed, fast, and speedy rhythms. Meanwhile, Sampha's angelic voice is just a calm in the storm. Okay, it's top 5 time. What's in the top 5? That is going to kick off with Billy Woods and Kenny Segal with Maps. Kenny Segal and Billy have worked together before on an entire LP, but this new one over here just completely blows their last effort out of the water and sees both Kenny and Billy in top form. Even though this is not a very poppy or catchy record, Kenny's instrumentals make it, I think, a lot more accessible than it would have been with another producer, as the beats on this thing are super creative and colorful. Meanwhile, Billy, with his trademark semi-spoken word flow, is hitting us with loads and loads and loads of esoteric references, clever bars. His fury, his bitter tongue, his comedic wit is just unmatched. And it's just been exciting to see him working for over a decade now, and just seeing him improve again every few years. Number 4 on the list is going to be singer and songwriter Sufjan Stevens with Javelin. The indie folk veteran is back with a record that is pure Sufjan vibes from beginning to end, not just with all of the plucky, sweet acoustic instrumentation, married with some grand and beautiful string arrangements and extra orchestral bits, but also the pain, the sorrow, the feelings of loss that come through on the lyricism, as this album is in tribute to his late partner. This record for Sufjan, simply put, is a return to form, and also proves that few artists have the capabilities that he does to communicate emotion and pain through his art in the way that he does. Javelin is absolutely beautiful, which is why it is also so difficult to listen to, because while this record is stunning in terms of its aesthetics and production and instrumental balance, it's also going to rock you emotionally. And few records left an impression on me this year in the way this one did. Moving on to number 3, it is going to be an artist that previously, very early in my reviewing career, I did not enjoy all that much, but over the years her work has improved again and again and again from record to record. That would be Lana Del Rey. Did you know that there's a tunnel under Ocean Boulevard? Lana is really and truly peak Lana on this new album of hers, with her most stunning and beautifully produced songs to date, her strongest vocal performances too, as well as best lyrics. As at this point in her career, she certainly has a lot to reflect on in terms of American culture, her career, her progression until this point, her personal life, and she proves it through what she says. Lana really truly nailed it on this one, even blowing previously acclaimed projects like NFR out of the water. And I'm happy to say that after this record, yeah, I'm kind of Lana pilled. And we can leave it at that, because at number 2, even more so, I am pilled with JPEGMAFIA and Danny Brown, Scaring the Hose. Maybe the most obvious top 10 pick this year for me, as this is probably number 1 for a lot of people in my audience, and for a very, 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 very long time, I have been riding with one positive review after the next for JPEGMAFIA, for Danny Brown, both of whom I think are 2 of the best rappers of their respective generations. And holy shit, they actually came together and did a whole collab album, and it's actually amazing, featuring some of JPEGMAFIA's most unhinged and creative production, as well as stellar lyrical and conceptual chemistry between these 2 from beginning to end. And on top of that, the record ends up being like a bit of a commentary on music and hip-hop itself, in terms of staying true to hip-hop's roots while also experimenting, challenging audiences, and not just simply giving in to the pressures of pop trends. It is clear with this record that Danny and Peggy would rather define a sound than chase one, and really that's what their creative mission on this record is all about. Then finally at number 1 record of the year for me, that would be Jeff Rosenstock. HELLMODE. Singer, songwriter, multi-instrumentalist, punk scene veteran, Jeff Rosenstock. He made the best record of the year in my opinion, and here's why I think that. Because I think Jeff successfully comes together with a punk opus on this one, instrumentally speaking, touching down on numerous shades of punk and punk adjacent genres, mixing them all together into these catchy but also grand and invigorating rock journeys. Aesthetically and musically, there is not a single lull on this record, but there's also the emotional, lyrical, and narrative component to this album, which is very much about self-care, very much about healing, very much about living post-trauma, very much about bettering yourself in a world that would very much prefer for you not to do so. Maybe I related to the content of the album a bit too hard, possibly, but I still do genuinely think it is a great record, and having listened to much of Jeff's stuff up until this point, I do genuinely think it is an improvement on a lot of fronts. Really hard-hitting, versatile, and well-balanced production that is heavy, but also not like suffocating or overdoing it in the way that some of the mixes were on No Dream. You have tracks that kind of segue and phase into each other emotionally and sonically really well, like on Worry. It kind of feels like we're on a bit of a personal roller coaster when it comes to Jeff's internal monologue, or just kind of how he's doing at the moment that he was making the record. We get a lot of that personal storytelling and chaos that I enjoyed so much off of We Cool, but Jeff very much sounds like he's in a place right now where he is able to put a lot of what he's going through in a more mature and poetic fashion. He also does a great job of embodying many of his influences from punk to alt-rock. And yeah, I loved the hell out of this thing, and it's my album of the year. And that is going to be that. Thank you very much for watching. Woo! Over here next to my head is another video you can check out. Hit that up, or the link to subscribe to the channel. Anthony Fantano, 2023. List week, forever.